Welcome to the Malting Hour. We made it. Episode 60. Who would have thunk we would have... Oh, let's start it over then. Let's do that. How's this? How's this? Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably, yeah. Thank you for
Want to sit back and compose yourself first?
I'm composed.
I'm motherfucking composed, man.
I'm fucking cool, Jeff. Relax.
Right. I know, you just need more cowbell.
This week we're joined by my neighbor, Jeff Kordick, to discuss old man beers again. This is episode 60 of the Malting Hour.
What's the haps on the hops? Got yeast and bees. This the Malting Hour where we talk about our drink and tell you what we think every other week. And if we get drunk, well, we might slur our speech. Got the gift of gab, the friends you wish you had. Join us for a drink, join us for a laugh. Time is never wasted, where you getting wasted. The Malting Hour here, people take your places. People take your places. People take your home.
Welcome to the Malting Hour, episode 60. We made it. Who would have thought we would have made it? Did any of you guys think we would have made it to 60 episodes?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Jeff, I'll ask you after a minute after I introduce you.
Well, you guys had nothing else to do, so I'm sure you would have more.
It's true. Well, and that voice is a familiar voice. It has been 50 episodes since your first appearance, I should say,
yes.
on this show. Jeff, my neighbor Jeff, is back, and we are venturing back into what we like to call old man beer. And it has nothing to do with you being older than me, Jeff. It's just a,
Or anybody else sitting in this room.
Oh, Clark is older than you. He looks pretty good for his age, but he is actually
Damn good.
85.
It's because he's a connoisseur
Ah!
of beers that we have not spent most of our life drinking. So
I don't know, before we got on, he was telling me he was just a genius at the brewing. So.
That's true. He did say he's a beer genius. And
Beer
we have
genius,
discussed it.
right here.
All three of us, beer geniuses. Well, we've got, last time we did this, we did, Schlitz, we did Hams, we did High Life, Old Style, and Paps. So we did 5. We covered 5. We don't have that many tonight. In fact,
No, we don't.
we took it down a notch. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 5. Shit, we actually... Okay, so we got 5 beers. Never mind, I was wrong. But we're gonna start this off. Before I get to that, I am disappointed. There was one beer that I wanted to grab, which was just straight up MGD that I couldn't find in these giant cans that I could purchase, the Miller Lite that we're gonna have. I really wanted to have that because I had a story behind it. But there's even a better story behind the Miller Lite. But we're gonna start with.
But before we do that, this is the Malting Hour, and I am your host, Brandon Whittinger, joined with always
Tony Golick.
and sometimes
Off on a side table, Clark Fettridge.
And we're joined with special guest, Jeff Kordick. Thanks, Brandon. You're the best, man. Fuck, where would I be without you?
and
Not
literally
a show.
on a side table is Clark.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty great.
for some context, and we'll probably take a picture of this too. Because we have a guest, we decided to move Clark to his
Clark
own
as
table
far away
because
as
he
possible.
brings his own computer and he does research during the show, so it only made sense for him to have his own table. And ironically, his audio will probably be the clearest when we do this because he's in the back away from everything.
And I think that's how we're going to keep it from now on. And Brandon, thanks for giving me the heads up when I was being too loud, which I normally am. And it always bums me out to go back to recording and hear myself so very loud clipping. So thank you. And thank you for, bringing in the... 2 weeks in a row now. You guys... Brandon did a far better job than you did, Clark. I'm sorry. If you would have stuck with the Price is Right type theme that you were going with last year, it would have been way better.
It was a mystery beer episode, so I changed things up and made it mysterious.
Okay, let's get into the first beer.
And
That's
We're
turn
done.
off.
That's a nice subtle difference.
Thank you.
Now we can turn off. Clark.
I'm doing my own show over here. If you guys would keep it down.
Do you want the GoPro? Over
Yeah, please.
Hey, welcome to the Clark Veteran Show. It's where I critique the Malting Hour the entire time.
And
not a bad
ironically, we
idea.
are starting with Clark's beer.
Yeah, ironically enough. Clark, what did you bring, baby?
We've got the king of beers, Budweiser. It's a lager, if anyone wanted to know. 5% ABV. We're getting up there.
Oh boy.
But, yeah, this one's lighter than I remember. I haven't had one of these in a while.
I haven't had a Budweiser in forever.
Back in the day, I used to drink a Budweiser every now and then. I graduated from Bud Light. One time a friend came out of a store. We told him to get some Bud Light. He walked out with Budweiser. We're going, what are you doing? Why are we drinking the heavy stuff?
Yeah.
And now I'm
heavy
drinking
stuff.
almost as clear as water. But
Yeah.
Which, the ironic thing about it is, like, this has the mouthfeel and the body that I would, if I went to a craft brewery, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is what you guys need to have if you have a good full lager. Like,
Yeah.
it's light,
Yeah.
very smooth.
Tastes good with your chicken wings.
This guy
Yeah.
gets
I
it.
had chicken wings today.
Oh, I had salmon. This is...
It does taste good.
Seriously.
It actually is really good.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe we drink this outside in the summer?
Oh, like a good...
What a novel idea!
This might be the first beer we've ever thought to do that with.
I mean, it's
So-
like 100 degrees outside right now. This would be a perfect summer beer to drink outside.
So, I mean, going off that, because we
Like every episode.
we brought Jeff on. So, what is your experience? So, we have limited experience, obviously. Well, not limited, like pretty hefty nowadays. But like,
I was
so,
gonna say.
like, what is your experience with Bud? Like, how far back do you go with Bud? Do you go back with Bud? Maybe you never had it before.
No, this is my first time.
Great.
I've never had a goddamn Bud in my life.
Oh, wow. Welcome.
No. We winged on hams and graduated to Old Style. That's kind of a weird thing to say.
Right.
Yeah. From Ham's Old Style. Yeah.
But in the entire family, nobody was a Bud drinker. So I never had it. This is
Really?
I never had Bud.
Oh,
For real? Oh, I thought that was
for
just...
real? No.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Outstanding.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a...
This is the first.
special
Happy
event.
60th episode, Jeff.
Well,
holy shit! I'm blown away by that fact.
I mean, even growing up and stuff like that, being kids, and we never went to Bud.
Wow. Shit. I mean, I've
Talk
had...
about allegiance.
Yeah. I remember having... I had Budweiser a few times, or even when I worked, was the Rib Fest over there on Lincoln Avenue.
Yeah.
They would say, Bud Diesel or Bud Light or Bud Heavy and Bud Light.
Bud Heavy, yeah.
I don't understand that anymore. I mean, maybe I need to have a Bud Light to.
Well, and so that's a good question. So we don't have Bud Light. Have you ever had Bud Light?
No.
So no Bud.
No Bud.
Oh man, you're
No
living,
Bud.
living the dream right
I
now.
remember
Bring it back.
Susan and I, my wife, on our cruise, on our honeymoon, back in 1978. We were on a cruise, and all the beer that they had Budweiser and Heineken. And that's when I had my first Heineken.
So okay, well, it's a good impression.
Really?
So this,
No, it's fine.
yeah,
It's nice and light. It's a great summer ale.
I'm-
It really is. Like
I'm glad you drank what we put in front of you. I thought,
Well, that's
based on like your background, I thought there might be a mutiny now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not drinking this. I spent my whole life avoiding this.
I've avoided Budweiser for years.
And these
Thanks,
fucking
jerks.
kids and their podcasts.
Their damn radio show.
confounded.
Hey guys, it's the malting hour.
Hey, he talked us up all day at business,
Yeah.
so you gotta give him that. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
I would say that this is surprisingly really good.
It's
Maybe
refreshing.
not surprisingly. It's not surprising that a beer that's been around forever that they are able to replicate over and over and over and over again. It's got to be a good.
So
product.
that is a good question. So Clark, have you done any research? Do we know when Bud was first brewed?
Ooh.
I believe it.
Working on it.
If I'm not mistaken, when Jeff and I, many moons ago, by many moons I mean last year, made our tomahawk steaks, we wanted to have a cowboy-esque evening where we cooked tomahawk steaks in my fire pit. Well, we started in the fire pit, then threw it on the grill because it was going to take way too long in my fire pit. Excuse me. By the way, we lined the fire pit with aluminum foil so that we didn't just have steak grease. But I looked up, we had some whiskey, we had some bourbon, and we thought, we got to have a beer with the actual steak.
Yeah.
And so I looked up what would be like the closest thing, or like to cowboy days.
Cowboy days.
Well,
Closest we can get was a lager, and I believe Budweiser was in the 1800s.
1876.
There we go, baby.
Ooh.
Carl Conrad and Company of St. Louis, Missouri. Imagine that.
St. Louis
What was the
was-
name?
Carl
Conrad and Company.
Do you know Carl Conrad?
No,
No, but
but the name Conrad rings a bell.
yeah, a little bit.
I do think that the Conrad Brewing, like, there may be some tie into Chicago at some point.
Yes, we'll get that.
Yeah. That's coming up. But yeah, this is man. I don't know what I was expecting. I know that what I remember MGD, my idea of MGD is not good, which is why I wanted to get that. But Budweiser, I never really had a negative experience with it or thought about it. I've had many of Bud Lights in my day, which I don't dislike. I think they're fine enough, but
Yeah.
this is
I
Budweiser's pretty
think my
good.
experience with Budweiser was Cubs games.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Because it was
baseball
Mine was
games,
old
concerts.
Budweiser. Like getting it from the guy. I was like, whatever, you got Bud. And that was when I was younger. And now
15.
I don't pay attention to those guys. I go to the stands where they sell craft beer, and I'm like, I'm getting that.
They're not walking around with Gumball Head.
No, I don't think I'd had a Budweiser for a good 2 years before I bought this the other day, and I opened one up the other night, thinking, I'll give it a try, expecting something heavier. My first sip, I'm going, oh, this is very nice.
Yeah.
This is very refreshing.
When you
really
worked
good.
at Beer Fest, if you had Bud and Bud Light, it was Bud Heavy.
Yeah, right. Exactly what you're saying.
Or Bud Light.
Right.
Like they would say Bud Heavy, and I'm like, now I taste. I'm like, it's not that heavy.
Yeah, well,
Now-
it tastes as light as can be, but
Now I wish we had Bud Light to compare it to.
No,
See, like,
it's like it's.
there's always
water.
a sweetness I get, when I say when I drink Bud Light, but that was
But I
probably
think
2
that
years ago
comes
too.
with the same comparison if you do like MGD, like Miller or Miller Lite. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good segue for Tony.
oh, I just happen to have a
Miller
fine
Lite.
Pilsner beer here known as Miller Lite.
So we're going from a lager to a pilsner.
It's also a lager. Pilsner is also a lager.
I know, but I mean technically,
There's no
We're
technicalities.
beer geniuses, Clark.
technically,
It's the same. It's a different type of lager. All right. Damn. Can't believe it. You know what?
well, hold on.
All I know is
A
you are-
pilsner is a lager, but not all lagers are pilsners.
Correct. Ah, there you go. Yeah, you're right about that. And that's. I think we were trying to drive that home, but okay.
You're confusing the audience.
Yeah. No. The audience is confused. They're
All
not
I
confused.
know is I'm
though.
loving
They-
this setup.
Yeah.
There we go.
The information
Oh,
station
yeah.
over here.
I'm gonna pass around the big old can here, you guys. Let's see how we're looking as far as color and comparison. Yep. Ooh, it's a little more golden.
Yes.
I think
Definitely looks
richer.
golden. Or,
It looks like maybe you didn't drink enough water. Anybody get that reference?
I did.
Pee-pee. So, a fun fact about Miller Lite.
Yeah, it looks
that-
like a morning pea to me.
Fun,
Pass the P.
look at it. Let's not insult it yet. We don't know how it
No,
tastes.
no, no.
A fun fact that
I've had this one.
yeah, he knows what this is. A fun fact that Jeff and I discovered about Miller Lite, because he and I were talking about.
Old time beers.
Meisterbrau,
And Meisterbrau.
What's your experience with Meisterbrow? You can go with that, and we'll move on to this.
Well, not so much because I was only a kid when I was around.
I mean, how much did you have it as like a little kid though? Like were you stealing them? And...
No, the only thing I remember about it was my Uncle Lefty drinking it on the front porch in the big bottle. And what is it? Quart bottle, I think
Yeah.
it was, whatever, and stuff like that.
The kids call them 40s now.
But they had a fantastic logo. And the only reason I know about it, back in the day, St. Thomas Church, where I had my first Holy Communion, I went to catechism over there. Coming out right next door was a 3-story brick building with a huge Meisterbrau emblem on it. I used to go, Meisterbrau, wow, that looks really cool. Had an eagle on it and stuff like that, but it was really, really cool. That was my first experience with Meisterbrau. And my Uncle Lefty would never give it to me. Because I was 8 years old.
Get out of here. Well, so we did some digging into. We were looking up one night. We were sitting in the yard looking up old beers,
As you said.
trying to find some that might still be around. Meisterbrau is the one that he brought up, so we did some research in Meisterbrau. And actually, when Meisterbrau, it was relaunched at one point as Meisterbrau Lite, targeting diet-conscious consumers. And after Meisterbrau went bankrupt in 1972, Miller swooped in for the sale of 3 Meisterbrau brands, including Meisterbrau Lite, which was reformulated and rebranded as what we're drinking right now, Miller Lite.
Lite.
Ooh.
So Meisterbrau used to be or is now Miller Lite.
Yes.
Sorry, I've only had that little bit of the Bud, and it's so heavy. I'm so wasted. I'm so wasted right now. So what Miller Lite seems to be a very. I've had more Miller Lites than I'd probably like to admit. I know that a lot of brewers enjoy Miller Lite because it's an easy drinking beer. The Chicago Bears love Miller Lite because it's their sponsor. So, what's everybody else's experience with Miller Lite?
Yeah, Miller Lite, I would say, is the mainstream beer that I drink the most of. And when I say mainstream, I say Miller Lite, Coors Light,
the big
Budweiser.
guys.
Yeah. Football season, I'll sit down and have some Miller Lights because they're, I think, 4.2 ABV, and you can have 7 to 8 of them and feel like you had maybe an IPA and a half.
Yeah, you can have a whole case and feel like maybe you split a Bourbon County with your best buds.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is legit one of the first beers that I had because it's what my dad drank at the time, and like everyone he was with drank, and I still remember a time when I was on the boat. And I was like, man, I want a beer. And my sister's boyfriend at the time, like, threw some in my backpack. He's like, take him home, go in your room, don't tell anybody. Oh. And then back, we were sitting in my room, kicked a couple back, and we passed out. And...
Is it my imagination or does this taste just a little bit more malty than the Bud that we just had?
Yeah, there is something in there.
Yes. Yeah, there's something there that's different. Like, there's...
It's more of
It's like a corn, a
I was gonna
grain.
say, it's more grainy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, not
some
so
malt. I mean,
it's malt, but it's more like a cereal
For
grainy flavor.
sure.
Yep.
I think that comes from maybe the sweetness being stripped away with it being a lighter beer, so we get to taste more of that.
But it is interesting. This lighter beer has a bit more. I don't want to say flavor or taste to it, but there is a tiny bit more there.
There's a texture.
There's more complexity.
Yeah, more complexity. Thank you.
Budweiser was much sweeter, I felt. The regular Bud.
Agreed.
We just had.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
If we had to do a comparison between the two. But
And I feel like there's a reason this is a light, and people drink more of this.
Yeah.
Because,
Well, it's funny, before we started, or when I was leaving to come to do the episode, I was talking to Laura, and I said, we're doing episode 60. Jeff, tonight, it's... we're just drinking more old man beers. And she goes, you don't sound happy. I'm like, well, they're not really brands. They're not really beers I really like. You gotta be honest. So far, I'm very happy.
Yeah.
I'm very happy, and we've talked about a few lagers on the show. I mean, obviously we leave.
I'm not knocking this in the
I'm not knocking either one of these, and I think it's giving me more an appreciation for these two brands as far as beers. And yes, they're the big beers, and if you love craft beer, you're supposed to hate the big brands. And honestly, you don't have to. Just drink what you want to drink, regardless.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, shit, man. I'm gonna pour myself a little bit more than I like, guys.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Kill that puppy.
Oh, give me that look, Clark.
So that's now 8.4% you're drinking. 'cause you
Ah,
drank 2 of them.
yeah,
Is that how ABV works?
Goes my phone.
See?
Sorry,
You gotta slow down over there. Tony just bumped his head on the ceiling.
That's all I
Things are going well.
Nice
So
sharp
this will be your
corners
last
there, Brandon. Nice.
No more beers for me, guys.
Those are
That's
made
it.
take out
Back to the
calories.
10% stouts.
Yeah, can we just stick to the high ABV MPAs?
Okay, so
Drop your phone.
Tony's gonna
I'm gonna go
Take a
lie
break.
down. I'm gonna lie down.
while we search for our next beer.
Ooh.
It's a revisit from
It
last.
is a classic
The
label.
last.
Yeah, we gotta do it.
Fantastic.
We gotta do it.
Now that I've regained some composure after dropping my phone and smashing my head into the ceiling on a very sharp corner, Jeff has pulled out a bottle of.
Schlitz.
Is it a twist off?
Not the shits. Schlitz.
Let's.
Beep. And let's see
Nope,
the
too late.
L.
If it is not a twist off, there is a bottle opener right behind you, Jeff.
No, we're good.
Ooh.
Oh!
And guess what? It wasn't a twist off. He just did that with his hand because. He's
Oh,
man.
Jesus.
He's bleeding.
Got a band-aid?
There's blood everywhere.
Doesn't look too bad.
I'm impressed.
Can we get through the episode and then we'll take care of them?
I'll take one for the team.
Let's hope he doesn't bleed out before we're
I mean,
Oh,
drink
boy.
fast. Talk fast, drink fast.
Here you
keep
go.
drinking so your blood gets thinner.
So we had Schlitz. We had
Let me
Schlitz.
finish Hold on.
Yeah,
I
come
need
on,
another
come on,
glass
Clark.
if you need one.
We had Schlitz 50 episodes ago. 50 episodes the last time Schlitz was featured on here. I want to say it was close to maybe when we were ranking these beers. I think it was in the top 3 of the beers that we enjoyed the most.
Yeah. Agreed.
Hams ended up being number 1. Hams was the most liked beer by us. Which since then I have had Hams a few times.
You've had ham?
I had ham for dinner last night.
No, Hams the beer. HAMS.
And I'm actually not joking.
That's fine. No, but
So it wasn't actually a joke. It was.
There we go. So we're drinking Schlitz. Another. What kind of beer is Schlitz, Clark? Did you look that up?
Brewed in the USA since 1849, Schlitz defines timeless taste. It's a lager. Crisp and light with a faint sweetness.
Where's it brewed?
The beer that made Milwaukee famous, with a
There
prime
you
blend
go.
of Cascade, Mount Hood, and Willamette hops.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
You know what's surprising is most of the beers you assume are like American beers. We don't have anything besides like lagers or pilsners. There's no stouts.
That is
Exactly.
because of Prohibition.
Well,
If you-
well, yeah, but
I thought that's what you were gonna get.
but you even think like Guinness was around since however many years. Like, how did that not come to be like anywhere here? Like, it's just amazing that it didn't. But they moved to the Midwest, and the temperatures aren't exactly what you'd want.
Yeah, what you would expect.
most of the time.
For sure.
But
It's
I
not
mean,
like it's
now
cold all the time.
we got global warming, and it gets a lot colder here now. So it's like, hey, man, get us some stouts.
And a lot warmer.
That
No.
Anybody in California, be careful. Anyways, so moving on to Schlitz. Schlitz. What do you guys think of the Schlitz? Schlitz doesn't give you the shits. That's
No, it doesn't.
Good. That means it's a good beer.
I think it's
Speak
nice.
for yourself.
Much more.
Clark's off to the bathroom right now. Oh boy.
No, there's some.
Oh, the toilet paper's in the other cupboard. Okay. Thank you.
No, I don't. This sounds a little silly. It feels like we're talking about craft beer here, but there's
We are, man.
more of
We
a
are.
spice to this one.
Yes.
I agree. There is something that's a little different.
A little tingle.
it's a bit nutty.
Yeah.
I think I'm not gonna say nutty. I think
No, it's not.
No.
But-
I think it has to do maybe with the hop profile on it, and maybe I'm just saying that because they actually mentioned the hops that they use, which I thought was kind of cool.
That could be a tiny bit of bitterness that we get.
And
Yes.
like, I'm curious to know if that has been the hops they've used the entire
Forever.
time.
Well, probably. I mean, those hops are pretty. Those are old school hops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially Cascade. I mean, that's,
Oh yeah, that's been around for eons.
I'm sorry. What were the hop? Mount Hood.
Mount Hood, Willamette, and Cascade.
Yeah, all those hops have been
Yeah.
around for a long time. I'm saying that as if I know it for a fact because I'm a beer genius, and that's why we have our own podcast.
Exactly.
You can't just start your own podcast. Rant. You can't just start your own podcast if you want. You have to have some sort of credentials, some sort of street cred. You can't just pick up a mic, plug it in, record, and say, hey, this is my show. End of rant.
Clark, question. When was the first brewed?
Ooh, this is a great question that I am going to tell you the answer to.
You can tell he's stalling because his
when
name.
the answer might be 1849.
Really? Before Budweiser?
It could be. Wait.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's correct because they also first introduced the brown bottle to industrial brewing in 1911. So they were doing this for a long time. Long time.
1849.
1848, 1849, I'm seeing. Yeah.
Still in existence.
Still going strong.
Now,
And they're doing it right.
Brandon and Clark, what are your experiences with Schlitz?
Honestly, I don't have a whole lot of experience with Schlitz. I may have had 5 in my entire life. It's just not a light beer like Budweiser, Miller Lite, Coors Light. I've had a lot of. Schlitz was never there. I had a decent amount of hams and PBR. PBR, I think, was at Stanley's Kitchen and Tap, now closed. It was like $2 cans.
Right.
So we had that a lot. But no Schlitz. But I'm enjoying it.
Brandon, what about you?
Yeah, same thing. I don't have any like big memories of having Schlitz. I'm sure if it was at a party I had it, or if I was doing a podcast like we did 50 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's what happens when you're slamming all these.
I totally had it then.
I'm not cleaning that up.
I had it then. Yeah,
Really
totally had it
bad.
then. And I enjoy it, man. It's like, yeah.
After the 2 lights that we had.
After
really.
all these beers that I have, like, I would
Yeah.
not turn, like, I wouldn't turn Schlitz down, I wouldn't turn Bud down. Like, it's like, whatever. Like, if somebody offered it to me, it's like,
Absolutely.
decent beer.
Jeff, what's your experience with Schlitz?
Uncle Steve, back on Wood Street, that was probably mid-60s and stuff like that. He just loved it. That's all he ever bought. And the uncles, my old man and Uncle Lefty and stuff like that, well, they get pissy because they hated it.
Yeah, my dad was an old style guy, so my experience with Schlitz was like mid to late 20s when it suddenly kind of made a resurgence, and I was hanging out at some very hipster-esque bars where that's all we were drinking was Schlitz. It was cheap. It was that, and we weren't doing PBR.
But like you said about the taste that you commented and stuff, what we had previously with the Budweiser and the Lite, and then we had the Schlitz, and it was a different texture for you completely.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't bad.
No, but it's,
you know, it's funny how
a good
that
change.
works. It's only been around since what? Again,
1849
and stuff like that.
that's like 20 years ago. I know how to do math.
Well, my brief bit of research here, it says Schlitz was the top-selling beer for much of the first half of the 20th century, but recipe changes and a series of snafus made the beer, in many a drinker's opinion, undrinkable.
Really?
So late 90s,
They changed the recipe.
Pabst Brewing Company bought Schlitz and kind of got the recipe back to where it originally started. And brought it back into the mainstream. So apparently it kind of disappeared for a little while.
Was it brewed in Milwaukee area?
It was. That's
It
correct.
was.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that goes back. So we years ago we used to go to Lake Dalton, which is right by Wisconsin Dells and stuff, and we were at the cabin and stuff, and there was one family that was there they've been coming there for like 80 years and stuff like that, and they worked at the brewers, and they brewed the Schlitz. But they would bring out the 16-ounce cans of Green Label Schlitz.
Green Label?
Green Label. They didn't sell it, I guess, or whatever.
Ooh.
And it was like 10.7%.
I was going to say, I wonder what the green label was.
Yes.
Jesus. Very concentrated.
Yes.
That's the craft beer version of it.
Test beer can, apparently, in 1973.
Really?
Yeah, that's around the time.
Wow. It's kind of like Double Barrel
Yeah.
for Bourbon County.
Ew.
Totally.
Missed out on
Green can.
something else I missed out on.
We had 2 of those around the campfire and said, woohoo!
Time to go to bed or do something else.
Gotta catch your fish in the morning.
Yep, so I'm just going to call it. I think this is a perfect time for us to take a quick break.
Sure.
And we will be back with some more Old Man Beers.
You got it. So what else do you take?
It's good to come home. You feel like celebrating. And if you've got somebody waiting who's just as happy about it as you are, the celebration's even better. You only go around once in life. So you take each day with all the gusto you can. In the life you live, the food you enjoy, even in the beer you drink. Why settle for less? When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer.
And we're back.
And we're back.
I'm back.
And
You're
we're
back?
back.
And I was never
You're
here.
back. I'm not.
Jeff is never here.
Jeff was never here.
Jeff's
back?
Jeff's back. Jeff just showed
here?
up.
No, I was never here.
Who's Jeff?
I'm here now.
Oh, he's here now.
I'm not back.
That's Jeff.
but
That's
I'm here.
Jeff.
Oh.
I'm Jeff.
We've been recording.
And we're back. Welcome back to the Malting Hour. We're first time we've taken a break in a long time, and we felt this one was appropriate. You got to hear a little commercial, like a throwback to the first time we did the Old Man Beer. Jeff, do you know, I mean, you've been on the show
Twice.
a couple times, 3 times total.
Thrice.
Trace.
So it's been 50 full episodes, and my original promise was that you were going to be on every 10 episodes. Are you sad that I didn't do that?
No, I was usually nap time about when
That would have been the answer I would have given.
That's great. I love
Jeff doesn't care.
I figured
No,
you
this
did.
is fine.
Yeah,
This is fine.
This is fine.
This is fine.
So Jeff, you brought you. I don't need to be on every.
Oh, Scotty, put that.
Kind of on board with you, Jeff. This is fine. I mean,
We'll mark that down.
Thanks,
as
guys.
Jeff doesn't give a shit about the show, but he plugged us all day at Benny's.
Yes, I did.
You did.
And
bring,
you print me more cards, and
Yeah, well,
I retired. I got nothing to do. I can go out and just stand in the corner.
We got to get business cards.
can you spin some Malting Hour signs for us?
There you go.
We're gonna have you spin some signs like the
Oh yeah.
car wash or the Liberty
right
tax.
right outside the Malting Hour
We got to
studio.
get Jeff business cards. So Jeff at the Malting Hour.
I love it. Oh, it's
I've
perfect.
been on an episode.
He's been on.
Wing.
Now he's been on 4.
4, yeah.
4 episodes. This is episode number 4, but episode number 60. Brandon's holding a beer that Jeff brought. Brandon, what are you holding?
I'm holding Seipp's Extra Pale pre-prohibition Pilsner.
So while it's not an old man beer in the sense that our fathers and grandfathers drink these beers, but it's a old man beer in the sense that it's an old beer and it's been brought back recently.
And does Clark actually?
Yeah.
What
do you know,
picked it.
Jeff, about this?
Why did Jeff pick this?
I just picked it out because I was looking for Strohs.
Yeah. Well, and Jeff and I actually talked about this beer.
And I didn't want to. They only had it in a 30-pack, and I wasn't going to pay a 30-pack. I just wanted one can.
Well, and so this kind of came in because the Conrad Seipp
Right.
we talked about
From
was Schlitz.
yes,
And there's some Conrad in there.
a nice gentleman at Benny's says this is fairly new. It's brewed from an old brewery back in 1800s or whatever and stuff, and it's been. I think it came back in 204 or 208. They started to manufacturing and brewing again.
Pre-prohibition Pilsner is what it's actually called.
And
Or,
Clark
well, that's
probably
its
has
label.
more information in front of him.
I have some information.
Okay.
Well, whatever
yeah,
information
it looks
you
like
have.
the brewery that brewed it, Conrad Seipp, founded in 1854, who actually closed their doors in 1933. So they brewed
Just
for
before Prohibition.
Yeah.
exactly.
And it was a remembrance, one of the top brewers in the Chicago World's Fair.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, so kind of going back onto like brief history that I know about Chicago, the breweries that were there, like breweries were dominant, and they basically they were the predominant. There were stockyards and stuff like that, but I think the breweries kind of like dominated everything. Like they controlled stuff to the point where you go to a brewery, they have the tight. I think I talked about this too. They had tight houses, and the tight houses were owned by the breweries. And I do think there was Conrad Seipp tight houses, but I think those are all lost and gone. I'm curious though because the logo I'm showing you guys. We can take a picture and post
Yeah, it'll
it.
be. It's probably in the. This will be in the.
I'm curious to know if there's any buildings that have this logo because everyone looks for the Pabst logo because that's a really big one. And the one big one that just closed was Southport Lanes.
Oh yeah.
Like they just closed, and they were a former tight house. Yeah, I've never seen that one on a building, but
It'll be interesting to find out where the brewery was located in the Chicagoland area, because that's where it
I wish
started.
I would have kept reading my book about Chicago breweries.
Damn it, Brandon.
We'll get right on that.
Clark,
I mean, I think a simple, like, quick Google search would tell you, like,
Well,
where Conrad
not
Seipp
really.
Brewery.
Now it lists Metropolitan,
Right.
who is Tony. I believe he says contract brewing this now.
Yeah, they have the
It says
recipe.
it on the bottle.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they came to an agreement, and Metropolitan is now brewing it as the recipe. that they originally used, and so now this beer is out there, and it's not even it's not even considered a Metropolitan beer. It's still just their beer. It's just Metropolitan's brewing it.
So a quick thing that I found. All right, getting my reading voice on.
Yeah.
Konrad Seipp, an immigrant from Germany, started making beer in Chicago in 1854, as Clark said, after buying a small brewery from Matthias Best. By 1856, Seipp had 6 employees who helped him produce 1,100 barrels of beer each year. In 1858, Frederick Leham joined the company, which became Seipp and Leham by the end of 1860s, when Seipp and Leham was one of Chicago's leading brewers. About 50 employees made more than 50,000 barrels.
It's getting
Yeah,
louder.
just going on.
It's getting louder as he goes
Yeah.
on. It's getting angry.
Well, I was just trying.
Yeah, I see at some point it was producing 250,000 barrels a year.
Jesus.
Yep.
Which is nuts. For back then?
For back then, yes.
So they ceased operation in 1933, just before Prohibition was lifted.
Yeah.
The brewery was destroyed that year to make room for a new hospital. I wonder if that's Cook County Hospital.
No.
No.
Good guess, though.
No.
I said I wondered. I didn't say it
I
was.
can't find where it actually...
I've got a book upstairs that I guarantee tells me.
Yeah.
On the actual
I'm not gonna
bottle,
wait
there
tomorrow.
is more information. In 1845, Konrad Seipp founded one of Chicago's first breweries. As one of the few breweries to survive the Chicago Fire of 1871, Seipp's beer was the drink of choice for workers as they rebuilt the great American city. He embodied the principles that define Chicago and the Midwest, the hope of immigrants. The determination to innovate and the respect for hard work. Pride in Seipp's beer has remained strong in our family for over the last 150 years, and we're honored to bring it back to the place he loved. So it's kind of a big deal that this beer is made. It's a lot of Chicago history, especially for Chicago beer history. Now, what's everybody... Excuse me. I've had this before. My good buddy Phil is a big fan of Metropolitan, so he's had this. I purchased this. I don't remember if, Jeff, you remember, you and I have actually had this before in in our yards. What do you guys take on this beer?
It's great.
It is great. Very nice. It does have, I don't know, knowing that it's being brewed at Metropolitan now, it does have that microbrewery craft taste a little bit, but I don't know if that's the hops. I read they use cluster hops in this,
Yeah.
which give off a bit of a floral, which sort of reminds me of Daisy Cutter.
Jeff has a note.
No, I have a question. You were saying about the hops, or what they did, because you said it was from Metropolitan,
Yes.
right? So, is it the method that they're doing, or is it the ingredients?
I'm sure it's all of the above.
All of the above. Okay.
As an official beer genius, that's my answer.
Yeah, I think it does.
You tell me that all the time, Joe.
That's his answer. What's your answer? I'm a beer genius.
I'm a beer
Just
genius, so
accept it.
if you want
I think
to
a lot of it does have to do with the whatever maybe house yeast that they use. The hops. I mean, I think that all does play into it. It does. When you said it, Clark, you were saying it has like a micro. It doesn't. It's a bit hoppier than the last 3 beers that we had, which I think appeals more to craft beer drinkers. Most craft beer drinkers,
Well,
I should say.
it definitely feels more filling.
Yes.
Yes.
And also those pretzels help too. But this one is this one's also more of a. It's almost more of a yellowish color. I don't know if you guys have any more left in your glasses.
But it was.
We drink it.
Agreed.
Yeah, there's like it's like a yellowish, almost like not lemonade. Oh, thanks, Jeff. There's still some left in mine. It's not as clear as say Budweiser. There's like a slight little haze to it, but it is more of like a golden straw yellowish type color.
Yep.
It even smells hoppier. You know, it's really I like this one. I remember when I saw it, I picked it up. I think the beginning of the summer where I was like, oh yeah, it's getting hot.
What's really crazy is, I mean, unless you read the side of it, I would have not known it was brewed at Metropolitan.
Right,
So.
exactly. So yeah, I didn't know about it. And like I said, my buddy Phil, who loves Metropolitan, and when I hang out with him, that's all the beer that he buys. And he had this, and they actually have another beer as well. and I want to say it was a Bach.
Yes,
a Bach
Colombian.
beer. There you go.
That was it.
the other one, which is also very good. So we should try that sometime, especially with the colder months ahead. Not too cold. Let's hope it doesn't get too cold, all right, guys? Not too cold. It's been very hot. We don't want it too cold. We don't want it too cold. Right.
Global warming, it's never going to be cold.
All I need is another 50 inches of snow on the ground at one point.
Oh man, I can't wait for that. I'm really looking forward to it. And nothing says 50 inches of snow like a nice, warm summer day beer. I fucked that up. All right, so that's a good one. That was a lot of history. I'm glad you grabbed that one, Jeff.
Okay, so I have a question. This is it's not trivia, it's a guess. So I'm on Untapped. You know, everyone knows Untapped.
Oh boy,
we have a lot of opinions on Untapped. You've already done your rant, Tony, so you can't do another one.
Come on,
this
I can
episode.
do it. That rant wasn't real.
But out of the 4 beers we've had, what would you guess is the highest rated beer on Untapped between Budweiser, Schlitz, Miller Lite, and the last one?
The extra.
Schlitz.
The highest rated is Miller Lite.
Miller Lite or Schlitz?
Miller Lite or Schlitz. Jeff, do you have an answer?
Miller Lite.
Okay, Miller Lite is on average is rated 2.49.
What?
Budweiser, who one person does, I do want to bring this comment out about Budweiser.
Just don't say who they are.
A person says, foretaste brings a little bit of sweetness and then the flavors quickly die off. I want to know what kind of flavors we're looking for in this Budweiser here.
Is this something I wrote?
He or she gave it a 2. But, so that's rated 2.59.
So that's higher than Miller Lite.
Higher than Miller Lite.
Okay.
And so we have, what's left? Schlitz and Seipp's.
So Schlitz is the highest? Because no way Seipp's is that. Well, Seipp's is probably the highest.
Schlitz, average rating of 2.79.
Ooh.
Seipp's, 3.79.
Hey!
So as we were just saying, it tastes a little bit more like craft. You got that little bit of hop flavor in there. I think
Nice.
us geniuses,
I
apparently,
we
geniuses.
I just want to throw out there. I mean, maybe we're not as good as Daniel, aka Hip Hops, doesn't think that Clark and I know what the hell we're doing when it comes to tasting. and
Well, we
smelling
just
beer.
totally redeemed
So
ourselves.
yeah, we did on that one. And guess what? You know what? I'm gonna call you out, Hip Hops, for a challenge for the next mystery beer episode. You join us and you tell me that Dortmunder Gold didn't smell funky like a saison.
Like a sweet, sweet, delicious saison, right in the middle of the summer in our backyard.
But that is a real challenge. So join us next time, Hip Hops. Anyway, wow, I really thought Miller Lite was probably going to be higher up just because I feel like everybody drinks.
I don't think everyone got the flavors that they wanted to out of there.
Well, they out of Budweiser.
Yeah, well, same with Miller Lite. All those flavors.
I was
you
really
look for.
searching for that beer flavor. It just didn't taste like beer.
It happens.
All right, so going off that, for my next beer, everybody must close their eyes.
Ooh.
Wait, so you're not doing the one you said?
Mystery beers.
You don't know. So
Can I just blink because I really don't have the
You may have.
reflections real fast.
You may know what I have, or you may not know what I have, because I have a couple of different options.
Are we all getting the same option first?
Yeah, you're all getting the same option.
All right. All right, so just so everybody knows, Jeff's looking at me. I'm looking kind of down into the side. Brandon is walking around pouring into glasses.
No, he's.
How do you know that?
He's pouring
I
it
can
out.
see your legs, and you just stepped in the garbage can.
Brandon's got his eyes
Your
closed
eyes should
too.
be
He's
closed.
pouring it on the floor.
My eyes are closed too. I said everybody close their eyes, so I'm doing that.
So Brandon's walking around with his eyes closed.
It's
pouring.
King Henry.
He's got
It's
his
King Henry.
fingers stuck in his in our glasses. So
Gross.
he doesn't.
Because every old
Mr.
man gets a
Poor.
King Henry.
Is every beer King Henry?
Oh, he's dropping off one bottle of King Henry for each of us. This is wow. Thank you.
You
this
weren't
is
supposed
wonderful.
to pee.
Everybody goes home stupid. That's all we need to know.
Oh God, gosh! Everybody shotgun a bottle of King Henry real quick and
All right.
compare something. Can we look?
Open eyes, gentlemen.
And
It's light. Looks
Well, I'm
just
not
like.
gonna tell you yet. You gotta drink it.
All right. So it is rich golden. This is you're not drinking enough water type pea color. Nice color. I like it. Whoa.
whoa, new. I
is
smell first.
Weird sweetness in there.
That is super sweet. That is not. I'm gonna say this right now because I thought you were gonna pour Yuengling. That is not Yuengling.
It is not.
Okay.
No.
Some sort of I want to say malt liquor, but it's not really malt liquor. It's not Mickey's.
No, this has to, the sweetness of it makes me think you got a malt liquor.
I like him there, but
Well, that's what I
Can see it?
I don't think it's Mickey's though. I
It's
feel
not
like
Mickey's. I would have loved to find Mickey's, but
Is it? You opened a can.
good clue.
they had cans of
It's
beer.
either I don't know if they make cans of Old English.
It's
Oh,
not
man.
Old English. I'll tell you.
Wasn't it polish?
Is it? Yeah.
Old
Also,
polish.
is it? What is it? Steel Reserve.
That's what I was gonna say.
Is it Steel Reserve? Oh,
Yes.
oh God.
8.4%.
Oh my
Is
God.
it 8.4? It says high.
right.
8.1. Sorry.
But after having this many years ago, this also tastes light.
Yeah.
I remember this tasting
get
like
light
the
out of this?
heaviest.
It's just very
Thing
sweet
in the
to me.
world.
It's very sweet
Yeah,
to me. That's
very
it.
sweet.
What's the back kick on it? I mean, way.
I think it's
Andy
aluminum.
Clark, start Googling.
Yeah, we're working
I think
on
it's
it.
aluminum can. Is the no? I'm joking.
no.
It's
No,
slow brewed with extra barley and select hops. So
I wonder what the
besides
select hops
that,
are. I never thought in a million years we would have had, because I've been alive for like a few million years, that we would drink Steel Reserve on this show. I knew we were going to drink a lot of beers, but
The only reason
What brings Steel Reserve back?
I took a picture this morning and I was like, man,
Yeah.
look at all these beers. And Tony goes, you should buy all of them. And I looked at them and I was like, this is the only one that's weird.
I was very tempted to grab a couple random ones when I stopped on the way here.
And don't worry, we will do the next one after this. So
Yeah, that was
but
a
yeah.
fun one to try out.
how is it like 8.4 or 8.1%? I'm like, holy hell!
I cannot believe that that's that high in alcohol, but it is sweet. It is like
Okay, so will I say it's terrible?
it's boozy.
It's
No,
good word, I think.
it's boozy. Yes. Is it terrible? I don't know. Like if I was at a party and somebody like handed it and didn't tell me what it was, and I saw all the other options, I'd be like, okay, it's one of those. Okay, great. Would I choose this out of a lineup? No.
No.
Not at all.
When Clark had said it's not Mickey's, it seemed like he was very like adamant. Which, by the way, they are discontinuing Mickey's. I don't know if you guys. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Miller High Life Light gone. Oh, there's so many.
Miller what?
Miller High Life Light, which I did drink for a while because it was very good, is being
I
discontinued.
never knew they had a light.
We'll get some.
How is this a thing? Like,
Well, it's 8%, and it is. I feel like, unfortunately, beers like this are made for people to get a quick fix.
yeah.
Nobody's out there getting malt liquor because they really like it. Maybe there is. I shouldn't say that.
Extra malted barley and select hops for extra gravity. Really?
It's basically they just up the. It's boozy. It is
Yeah.
boozy. It's sweet.
I
It's
could
boozy.
put
Yeah.
more malts in my beer to get extra gravity too.
Yeah.
But will it taste good? Nobody knows.
I wish it wasn't as sweet. That's the only thing that
Yeah.
I don't like about it.
I
hold
agree.
on.
too
So
sweet.
apparently this is also being discontinued.
Steel Reserve?
Yes.
R.I.P.
As of like now.
Yeah, right?
You got the last can.
Yeah.
Shit, finally. Well, good thing we're having it on this episode.
All right.
I'm starting to feel this one, I think.
That's too bad. Along with 10 other
Oh.
beverages, so I guess Mickey's part of that.
Actually, yeah, do you mind, do they have that whole list?
I'm looking. I
think I
can't
need
find
6
the whole
espresso.
list.
Yeah, please have some. Just chew away from the mic if you can.
Gotcha.
It was introduced in 1994 by Molson Coors.
If you can hear crunching, it's just a pretzel. Right, it was a Molson Coors, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Oh, here we go.
I feel like this episode's going off the rails with the Steel Reserve.
Keystone Ice. Oh, man. Keystone Ice. No more Keystone Ice. What are we going to do?
That's you. You and I normally drink that when we just exchange beers. Like, if like we do a Revolution split 4-pack, you give me 2 beers, I give you 2 beers, but then you and I both shotgun a Keystone Ice.
That's the
It's tradition.
usual play,
That's the old
as they say.
That's the old Revolution beer exchange play.
Yeah, so...
Oh shit! You got Yuengling bottles? Nice, man.
Yeah, you mentioned Miller High Life Light, right?
Wait,
Yes.
Milwaukee's Best
segue.
Premium. Keystone Ice, I said. What else?
Ice House?
Key Lightful? I've never heard of that.
I want to find it because it sounds fun.
Uh-huh. Ooh.
It sounds delightful.
Yeah, Ice House Edge and Mickey's Ice is also disappearing.
Is that key?
The rest of Mickey's lineup will stay around, it says, though.
Oh, well, that's good. So it's just Mickey's Ice.
So we can do the Mickey show.
If you want to dump the rest of that in there, if you don't want to finish
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay, that's
As you should.
Hey, Brandon, thanks
Yeah,
for
I
giving
need
me
to get
Steel
there.
Reserve. I thought we were friends.
Didn't we have this before?
Yuengling?
Yes.
Not on this show.
No?
No.
I thought I've had
You and I have had,
Yes.
You and I have had the Yuengling,
Yes.
yes, together. Jeff and I have had many drinks together. In fact, Jeff and I have shared one bottle of Uncle Nearest completely to ourselves, and we have one more left to go.
I've never had Uncle Nearest.
Well, you got to come by for a fire sometime soon, buddy.
You have to read the history about Uncle Nearest.
I have.
That's that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool.
Everybody,
They should make a goddamn
Google
movie about
yeah.
that.
Google Uncle Nearest. Learn a little bit about that. You want to learn about some good booze making right there, and well, what happened. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. Brandon, what's the next beer, baby?
We are drinking Yuengling.
I don't like the way Clark
Yuengling.
laughed at that.
From
No, I was laughing
Pottsville,
at-
Pennsylvania.
Someone's comment on Steel Reserve on Untapped.
Oh,
Shut up.
This would be the lowest. This is the lowest average. And then someone just wrote, lousy. Like, boy, this one looks good. I'm going to give it a go and see what it really tastes like.
Steel Reserve's lousy.
Yeah.
Gross. So Yuengling, man, it's kind of nice going to this after Steel Reserve. So for years, not years,
Agreed.
maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, I was introduced to Yuengling. Maybe a little bit less than that. A family member of mine, her husband, bragged about how good Yuengling is. And anytime, like, he would get it regularly. And he was like, you gotta have it, you gotta have it. And this was probably early in my craft beer days of when I was showing up to family parties with my whatever Sam Adams variety pack was available at the time. Be like, hey guys, I brought beers. Don't worry, there's a lager in there for you. I got to try this, and I really liked it. And that was around the time where I was just really big into IPAs and trying other types of beers. And Yuengling was the one lager that I really, really liked, that I was like, this is when I didn't want to drink Miller or Budweiser. But this was a lager that I really, really liked. And coming off of that Steel Reserve and drinking this, man, this might take the cake for me as far as, well, Budweiser was very good for me, and I liked Miller Lite and Schlitz, and, Steel Reserve I'm not going to talk about, and the Seipps. Am I saying that right? Seipps, or is it Seips? Seips was also very good. Thank you, sir. I before E, except after C. This is probably my favorite beer of the night. It's a nice amber color. It's not that light yellow color. And the sweetness and bitterness is perfectly balanced. I said it. That's right. It is a balanced lager for me. It is a balanced beer. And this beer would be good to drink any day of the year, not just on a hot summer day.
Agreed. Concurred.
I
Well
would even
put.
say I wouldn't drink this on a hot summer day. I would like it on a nice crisp fall day.
Ooh, or what about a nice damp spring morning?
Definitely. If it's a Sunday.
You're drinking beer in the morning?
On a Sunday, though.
Oh, on Sunday. Oh, no.
On his way to church.
We're talking about Johnny
Exactly.
Cash.
Thank you.
Are we doing Johnny Cash songs now? On a
Yes.
Sunday. Sorry.
No. Yes.
Okay.
No.
No?
No. Final answer is no.
Okay, great. Yes, I agree.
Back to the panel.
Jeff, so was your first experience with this when you and I had it together? Or have you had this before that?
No, this is second time.
Second time, okay.
Right.
Oh, that's nice. Brandon, I know you've had some experience with Yuengling,
Yeah, I
probably as
have.
much as I have as well. Do you remember your first time drinking Yuengling?
Yeah, I was traveling for work, and I was in Atlanta, and they serve it. I had it on tap. Well, because people had told me,
Yeah.
like, you got to get Yuengling, and I was like, all right, whatever. And I was, like, just getting into craft beer, and I went there, went to Atlanta, went to a bar, they had Yuengling. I was like, I need that! And, like, enthusiastically, probably, like,
It's fantastic.
Somebody had a problem. Anyways, so they gave it to me, and I was like, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
And from somebody that I was expecting so much, I was like, okay, but this is good. This is better than other beers that I've had.
Well,
Especially
really
for
great.
a
lager.
Yeah.
It seems really mellow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say smooth.
It's a
mellow.
nice. It's a nice. Yeah, it's a nice. And I like that it's more of a. It's a sweet. To me, it reminds me of a sweeter Sam Adams Boston Lager.
Yeah, and my thing was like, this is great. It's better than, the Bud and Bud Light, Heineken's, whatever that I've had. But I'm like, this is solid. Like, I would drink this before all of those other beers. And then, comes in the, you're not going to have this ever again because you're going back to Chicago. I'm like, oh, God, this is so great. I'm like, so yeah. There's
Quick call up the cargo plane.
Yeah, there's that, window where, this isn't going to be the best you've ever had because you're never going to have it again. And then I've had it a few times since. So, but still, every time I have it, I'm like, man, this is such a solid lager. If I could brew something like this, that would be great.
Yeah, I kind of wish I had this readily available to me at all times. That it's not just a special purchase when someone goes out of town.
Well, if you move to Texas, it just came out down there. So,
Do we know if it's ever going to come to Chicago?
that information I don't have, and I don't think I will find it.
Brandon,
I will
question.
unmute Clark's mic now.
Oh, okay, good. Because good. I was talking on Clark's mic, so I'm walking around the I'm walking around the studios right now. I wanted to try something new.
How's that walk going for you?
Kids, send them to school, leave the books.
It's going great.
He just
your
scratch
steps
his ass. He didn't have to walk around.
We're at 15,324 steps for the day.
And now we're at
That was-
15,237.
Question about a little history over here.
Yeah.
All right. Obviously, it says from Pottsville, PA, Pennsylvania. So,
What director
What is-
came from Pittsburgh? George A. Romero, creator of Night of the Living Dead. Yes, that is the answer that you were looking for.
F you. The Yuengling. What? Is that
What's
a name
that
of
all about?
something besides the beer?
This is-
or is it...
This
Is
is
it-
Jeff's Jerry
is it-
Seinfeld moment.
is-
Yuengling, what's that all about?
There you go.
I like how you're holding the pretzel like it's a cigarette.
I don't know where the name comes from, but it is the oldest operating brewing company in America. 1829.
Fantastic. It beats out all the. So is Yuengling the highest rated one? Do we cover that?
That it looks like it's tied with what was this Seipp's?
Seeps.
It says Yuengling is at 3.49. I feel like that was exactly what Seipp's was at.
Was it?
Wow.
If I only had a machine that would tell me if
Man, only in the future. Oh, we had machines.
3.79. Seipp's is still the winner.
All right.
Oh!
Wow.
Nice.
Good choice.
Give him a table, they said.
Smart.
Make it better, they said.
Turns out that Clark does need that table all the time. Clark, I feel like this is like a plus you got a steel reserve there at your becking call.
I got everything over here. I've got Bud. I've got a Miller Lite Steel
Hey,
Reserve.
help yourself to some of that Weller that's over there.
Some of Brandon's homebrew.
Grab a bottle. Take a shot.
But Yuengling's original surname. Now I could be talking about some guy named Yuengling. Apparently,
What's
what
all
is
about
Yuengling
What nationality is
named
that?
after? Has been known as the.
What?
Wait, no,
Yuengling. I said, what nationality would that be if it was a name?
If Yuengling.
Oh, yeah, okay.
German.
German.
It is German.
Yes, das ist gut.
But it was, I guess this is, I think it was a
Sorry,
guy's name.
I should
His
know.
original
That was-
last name was Yuengling, meaning youth or young man in German. So there we go.
I also like to apologize to everybody in Brussels who listened to the show and just heard my very terrible German accent.
It was me doing an American doing a German.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It was Clark
From
imitating
Texas.
me.
Yes, from Texas,
Yes.
where you can now buy this beer.
Please still keep listening to us in Brussels. Thank you. So, all right, we did this last time. If you guys had to choose, if we're ranking beers right now. Okay, this
If
is
you had
it.
to pick one more beer to ever drink, like if you
Out
could
of
only
the-
have one of
let's
these.
do this. What is your favorite? I will say, okay. What's your favorite beer of the night? But also, I think we can all agree that, other than maybe Steel Reserve, thank you for that, Brandon. All these beers were really good. They were probably better than what going into tonight was.
I'll say
expected.
Steel Reserve wasn't awful. Honestly,
It was too sweet for me. That was it. But
I'll be honest and say it was awful.
fair enough.
fair enough. So let's go around the studio room here. I'm going to start with Jeff. Jeff, since you're the guest here on episode 60, if you had to choose, now it doesn't matter which one you choose, it's total preference. Now, if you had to choose one of these beers that you were going to drink for the rest of your life and none of the others, which one would you have picked?
Actually, I wasn't. I was surprised the first time with the Bud, but I really kind of like the Spiels.
The Seips?
The Seips.
Or the Spiels. Immediately.
Yeah,
The Seips feels.
Spiels.
I like the
it's
Seips.
on the other side of the aisle.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so that's one vote for the Seips. Not bad. Brandon, I'm gonna no, screw that. We'll be last. Clark, you're over there in the corner by yourself. Nobody likes you.
Over here, can you see me?
Yep.
Or-
Well, hold on. Jeff, move your head.
Oh, there I am.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey. Oh, here. How about this? Is this help?
Yeah.
I got
Oh.
more steps in.
Oh, great.
So if you had to choose a beer out of all these, which one? And you can include Steel Reserve if you
No,
want.
no, clear winner. I don't want to say clear winner, but I immediately went to Budweiser, honestly.
So you would choose Budweiser out of all those?
Crisp, clear, light, delicious. No crazy flavors, nothing. Even though I didn't get all the flavors I was looking for out of it. Still
All right,
delicious.
Tony, you're
That's-
up next. What would you
There aren't any
choose?
other flavors.
I would say that out of all of these.
Yeah, that's what we were talking
No, I know. But I was asking.
We weren't talking any beer in the world, just
Wait,
the
so out
ones
of
tonight.
King Henry. King Henry is the beer that I would drink. No, I think that it comes down to between Yuengling and Budweiser for me, and I think that Yuengling is the one that I would go with, mainly because, like I said, it has everything that I like in a lager, but it's a nice balance, sweetness, and hoppiness. Brandon, buddy,
I'm choosing Steel Reserve.
I knew it. You.
No.
Tell us why.
I would not choose that.
Is he on medication
actually-
again?
Yeah.
I didn't know Tony would choose Yuengling, but that's what I would choose because
Bada bing, bada boom, baby. That's why we're the host of this show.
I bought that because I love that beer so much. It's so good. It embodies everything that I want in a lager. So
Brandon, can I just say one thing? I hope you just let your hair keep going. I want you to get a ponytail so bad. I just want to just long enough for
can
me
I
to
know
see.
that you're in the same camp of my wife? She's like,
Awesome.
Is that a girl?
It's
Is that
the
a girl?
two people that love you the most, other than your son.
And he doesn't care.
Yeah,
So it's great.
He just calls you dad. I just want to see your hair in a ponytail one time.
Ponytail
you can
Pilsner.
chop that shit all off.
It'll happen.
Yeah, I think.
You're not going to braid it, are you?
Tony will braid it.
I have in the past, so
I'll
you
braid it
never
for him.
know.
Yeah, I'll braid it for him. So with that being said, Jeff, thank you for joining us again for episode 60. I wouldn't say this was necessarily an old man beer, just more of a big brand type beer. Maybe your more commercial style lagers with a little bit of history intertwined in there. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I'd like to thank Tony, Clark, Brandon for having me
Whoa,
here.
hold on.
How the fuck did Clark get mentioned
You
before?
have
Yeah.
just set fire.
Yeah.
Show sucks.
Someone finally appreciates
You
me.
may never.
Get out of Clark's house now.
Yeah. The exit's right through there, by the way.
Is that the exit? Because I went to the bathroom.
That's where I left once.
Brandon, check your computer. Jeff may have whizzed in there. No, sorry. Jeff.
Not might have.
Oh no.
No, actually, it was nice, really good, and mostly it was informative with Clark looking products up and
Clark does a good job.
That's why we
Yeah,
hired him.
we
That's why I
appreciate
brought him
him.
on. Yeah, we do. Well, that's gonna do it for episode 60. Here's to 60 more
Hasn't been
episodes.
60 episodes.
60 episodes. Jesus
happy
Christ.
60.
Yeah, we made it. We made it 60
Yeah.
years old. Oh,
Nobody
geez.
brought a fucking cake.
Oh, did you have a cake?
And whose job was
That's
that?
for you.
Oh,
Might be a
stuff
cake.
Outstanding. Well, Brandon, I love you, man.
Love you too, bro.
Jeff, thanks for being on here again. We'll see you in
You're
another
welcome.
50 episodes.
Might be
And,
dead, but go ahead.
Clark, enjoy your new seat because that's where it's going to be from now on, baby.
Here I am in the captain's seat.
Love it. Even when we do it Zoom, you're going to sit over there.
I'm here.
Outstanding.
I'm for it.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Happy 60. We did it.
Good night.
Boo.
This has been The Malting Hour. Be sure to follow us on all social media by searching The Malting Hour and at themaltinghour.com. You can also follow us on social media platforms individually. Brandon can be found on Instagram as BMDub81, on Twitter, BDub81, on Untapped, BDub Drinks Beer. Tony can be found on Instagram and Untapped under Asa Phelps Chicago. On Twitter, The Asa Phelps Chicago. Clark can be found as Clarkowski on all three. Be sure to subscribe, like, and rate the show on your preferred podcast listening platform. Until next time, cheers from all of us at The Malting Hour.